Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, The Curious Genealogist. I am Evelyn and today we are going to be talking all things cousins. So when you get a DNA test, you will find that you probably have a lot of matches, and matches are the most useful thing that you can get out of a DNA test. But you probably will get confused when a website like Ancestry tries to predict the relationship fourth cousin twice removed. You're probably like, what is going on there? What does a fourth cousin twice removed even mean? And you're probably just so confused on that. So today we will be discussing what is a cousin. What does it mean when cousins are removed, or what's a fourth cousin, and kind of tips on how to contact them after you receive your DNA results and you see their family tree and it has helpful stuff for you and you just want to, work through your family tree together. All right, let's get into it. So, what is a cousin? I know, you guys probably know what a cousin is, but I'm just going to tell you anyway. A cousin is someone you are related to because you share at least one common ancestor, but you are not descended directly from each other. So, your cousin and you are related because your grandma had you, your dad, and his brother. His brother married a wonderful lady and had a kid, or 3 kids. Those are your first cousins, or that's how you're related to cousins. They're your grandparents having, kids, and then them having kids. So, yeah. So, for example, your parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents are your direct ancestors, which you probably already know. Your cousins descend from your ancestors' siblings. So, for example, your great-grandparents had your grandpa, and they had they had another girl, they had a girl who is your great aunt, who is your grandpa's sister. Your grandpa had your mom, and your mom had you. But alongside your grandpa, your grandpa's sister had your uncle, or they had a boy who had a girl. So that is your second cousin. So, yeah. Your cousin isn't your direct line. They're in a side branch of your family tree. So, what are fourth cousins, second cousins, first cousins? So, what does that even mean? So, your first cousins and you share the same grandparent or Your first cousins and you share the same grandparents, whether that's your mom's side or your dad's side. So, for example, your grandparents have your mom and your aunt, or your mom and her sister. Your mom has you, and your aunt has your cousin. So, whoever your aunt has is your cousin. So, your mom has a sister, your aunt has a child, that child is your first cousin. Second cousins share the same great-grandparents. So one of your 4 sets of great-grandparents is you and your second cousins, what they share. So your grandparents were siblings. So your great-grandparents had your grandparent and your great-aunt, or your grandparent's sister. Your grandparent had one of your parents who had you. Now your great-aunt had your cousin's parent who had your second cousin. Then third cousins share the same great-grandparents. So one of your 8 pairs of great-grandparents is what you and your third cousin share. So your great-grandparents had siblings. So count the greats, and that is how you'll determine. So if it is a 4 times great-grandparent, that means that's your 5th cousin. If it's your great-great-grandparents, that means your 3rd cousin. Each generation further back increases the cousin number by 1. You're like, okay, now I get it. Now I know what 4th cousins and 3rd cousins and how I'm related to them. But what does it mean when they're 2 times removed? So what does remove mean? Removed has nothing to do with how closely you're related. It only tells you that you're in different generations. First cousin once removed. One of you is one generation older than the other. Let's use an example. Your first cousin has a daughter. That daughter is your first cousin removed. So your grandparents have your parent and your aunt, or your parent's sister. Your parent has you, but your aunt or your parent's sister has your first cousin, but your first cousin has a daughter. You and your cousin's daughter still descend from the same grandparents, but she's one generation below you. First cousins twice removed. Now there's a 2-generation difference. Example, your first cousin's granddaughter. Second cousin once removed. You share great-grandparents, but you're one generation apart. So, hopefully you get the gist. So an easy way to remember removed is once removed means one generation apart. Twice removed means 2 generations apart. 3 times removed is 3 generations apart. The cousin number doesn't change, only the generation changes. Here are a few examples of once or twice removed, or more than that. So let's talk about cousins, an example to wrap it all into big stuff. Your mother's sister's child is your first cousin. Your mother's sister's grandchild is your first cousin once removed. Your grandpa's cousin is your first cousin twice removed. And your great-grandparent's sibling's great-grandchild is your second cousin. So, now that you understand what cousins are, let's talk about why DNA companies show so many cousin types. So when you take a DNA test with companies like Ancestry, MyHeritage, and 23andMe, most of your matches won't be close relatives. A typical mix is a few close relatives, many first to third cousins, and hundreds of fourth cousins, and thousands of distant cousins, which just means fifth cousins or more. Many of these people probably have never met you, but they can still help you build your family tree. So how much DNA do you and your cousins share? These are averages, but real people can share somewhat more or less. Your first cousin, you share about 12.5% or 550 centimorgans. Centimorgans are the little pieces of your DNA that you and someone else share. Your second cousin, you share about 3.1% of your DNA with, or a roughly 230 centimorgans. Your third cousin you share 0.78% or 75 centimorgans with. And your fourth cousin you share 0.2% or 35 centimorgans of DNA with. This is why first cousins are usually easier to identify, while fourth cousins often require unique research. Alright, so now that you know what cousins are, how you're related to them, and how much DNA you share, here are some tips for those of you who want to contact some distant DNA match cousins that will help you with your research, or you just want to contact them and build your family tree together. If someone looks like they could help with research, be friendly and brief. Most people are more likely to reply to a short message. Example. Sorry. Bless my little heart. For example, hi, we matched through Ancestry DNA. I'm researching my family tree and noticed we may share ancestors from Norway. I was wondering if you'd researched that side of your family. I'd love to compare notes if you're interested. Thanks. Mention the shared ancestor if you know about it. And instead of saying we're related somehow, say something like, I think we both descended from the Pedersen family from southern Norway. Specific details help people recognize the connection. Ask 1 or 2 questions. Examples. Have you built a family tree? Do you know where your family came from? Have you identified our common ancestor? Too many questions at once can be overwhelming, as many of you know. But But asking a question or two is definitely not a bad idea. And number 4 is share what you know. People are more likely to respond if you offer information too. For example, share something like, I've traced my branch back to Mandel, Norway in the 1800s. And number 5, or the final thing, is be patient. Many people don't check their DNA account often, as some of you might know, took the test years ago, or simply aren't active anymore. It's normal for some messages to go unanswered. To wrap this video up, let me give you a genealogy tip. Don't ignore second and third cousins. They often share enough DNA to be very useful, and many have well-researched family trees. Those matches can help you identify shared ancestors and solve family history mysteries more easily than very distant matches. Based on what you've shared before, and especially somebody's interest in their Norwegian history, reaching out to cousins who descend from that branch could be one of the best ways to learn more about your family's origins. That is it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful and got to know a little bit more about how cousins work and how you're related to them. And if you want to see more of a video like this, or videos, or you have ideas of more videos I can post, make sure to comment down that box below. And don't forget to like, hype, share, and subscribe. See you all in the next video. Bye!